I started thinking about this because you can take it a lot of different ways. Who leads this team in sacks? You got Hassan Reddick. You've got
Sweat.
Brandon Graham coming back. You have Sweat. You have Hargrave, who I believe led them last year. I'll pull it up, but be certain. It's a good thing that you're not exactly sure who, but look, I hope it's Reddick. You paid the guy a lot of money.
Yes.
It would mean you're using him the right way. All right, I want to switch gears. I was thinking about this. Something piqued this when you were talking the last segment, Eagles wise, and we asked the question, who would have more receiving yards? Would it be Devontae Smith or AJ Brown? But then we started when Barrett was talking about the defensive line. I started thinking about this because you can take it a lot of different ways. Who leads this team in sacks? You got Hassan Reddick. You've got
Sweat.
Brandon Graham coming back. You have Sweat. You have Hargrave, who I believe led them last year. I'll pull it up, but be certain. It's a good thing that you're not exactly sure who, but look, I hope it's Reddick. You paid the guy a lot of money.
Yes.
It would mean you're using him the right way. That's who I hope it is. Barrett seems to think Sweat will lead them in sacks.
Right.
So Hargrave had 7.5 last year, and Sweat had 7.5 for what it's worth. And then your second closest was, man, they didn't get a lot of sacks. Your second, the guy after that, Derek, was Fletcher Cox with 3.5.
Oh, jeez.
Hassan Ridgeway had 2. Milton Williams had 2. Barnett had 2. And that's it. That's not good. Anyway, so it better be more collectively than that, period. But who do you think leads them?
Well, Reddick came out and said that he feels good about how he's being deployed in this defense. So because of his recent history in sacks, I'm going to lean towards Reddick. I know Barrett likes Sweat, and, Barrett has been singing Sweat's praise all training camp long. And I think Sweat is a viable candidate because I love his burst off the ball. I love his ability to get up and under a lot of these bigger offensive tackles. But I just think Hassan Reddick, having 23.5 sacks over the last couple of years, is that guy who's going to lead the charge. I think Sweat will be a close second. I think Brandon Graham's going to get his 6, 7, 8 sacks. Hargrave's going to get his 4 or 5, maybe, 6. But I think Reddick, right now, my leading candidate would be Reddick to be the sack leader on this team.
I think you're right. I also look at it like it's a good thing. There's potential. Maybe I think the wealth is going to be spread out a lot better. I think Fletcher Cox will have more than he had last year. You could very well see, and it's going to be limited opportunities, mind you. But Milton Williams get you more than 2. Hargrave's essentially playing for a contract. I think he will deliver for them as well. I think the ante's going to be upped by a lot of these guys. Collectively, they were second to last in sacks last year, Derek, which is awful, obviously. With the talent that they have now, you could jump from second to last in sacks to top 5 or 7. I think they're in that range with these players they have.
I agree with you, but I've been generous in saying there's no excuse for them not being in the top 15. If they're in the top 15 in quarterback sacks, I can accept that. I think they have the personnel, like you said, to be in the top 5 or 6 in terms of quarterback sacks. But I'll settle for top 15 compared to where they were last year. That's 100% improvement.
Oh, it is.
You're
more than double
31st.
You're flipping yourself into the upper echelon.
Yeah, from 31st to 15.
Yeah,
that's 100% improvement.
Yeah.
And so I'll take that. If they're better than that, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that's a luxury to have. But not just the sacks, but they've got to improve quarterback hurries, quarterback hits.
Yes.
You've got to make these quarterbacks feel as uncomfortable as possible. When you look at the overall body of quarterbacks they're going to play, there's not a lot of names on this list that strike fear. When you think about it, there's a few that's going to give you some problems. Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, obviously Dak Prescott. But you look at most of them, Carson Wentz, we don't know what he is, or is not. Look at some of these other quarterbacks they're going to face.
You're saying in terms of mobility?
No, just in terms of being able to beat you on the blitz consistently.
Okay.
I'm thinking Dak, Rodgers, Matt Ryan. Those
Yeah, I
three.
mean Cousins.
Cousins
You
and
can
Cousins.
get to
4.
him though.
Okay,
You can
4.
get to him.
But Cousins is a smart quarterback too. He's going to get rid of the ball when he has to. He's not going to take a lot of hits. So I say 4 out of 17 games. That plays to your favor when you look at the body of wealth of talent this team has to attack a quarterback. I think when I think about Dak, Cousins, Rodgers, Ryan.
Keep it. Kyler Murray can move.
But those 4 I'm talking about, they're not quarterbacks that you worry as much about them being the ability to run the football.
Right.
They can kill you with the pass or reading defenses and beat you on the blitz.
I'm sorry. I got you.
Saying?
Reading a blitz.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I'm not. I'm not talking about the ability to. If you miss them on that rush, they got wide open space to kill you.
No,
those are the kind of quarterbacks they're going to pick up their 5, 6, 7 yards and duck.
Yeah.
When you talk about a Kyler Murray, he's looking for the home run every time he hits that open field, and he's got the moves to make a lot of people look bad when he hits that open field.
No,
those other 4 are not those type of quarterbacks.
I think you're right, and those opponents may be the ones that you're not as aggressive. I know Eagles fans don't want to hear that.
Right.
That might be where, front, whatever front you're playing, whether 4-man front, odd man front, you got to get home, man, in this game.
Yep. And you got to make sure you're covering on the back end because you let them stand back there and pat the ball, they will find that open guy. That's
why Green Bay is going to be so interesting this year without Devontae Adams. They may not be as potent, right? It may not be the same kind of an offense, but I almost feel like this is really we're going to see kind of what Aaron Rodgers is made of now. At this point, almost 40
That's weird
years
to
old,
say that. Yeah,
I know it's ridiculous because he's great, but what I mean by that is just you really took a safety blanket away from him, and he's going with either really inexperienced or guys who have just been okay, or Cobb's older, but whatever. He's not the same player, so it's a lot different than what he's had. I mean, he's had a top 3 receiver in the game for how many years has Devontae Adams been there? 5 years, whatever it's been.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Well, the thing is, too, that's intriguing, he has more speed now at the wideout than he's ever had before.
Yeah.
When you're talking about these young kids, now these young kids have to find the way they Romeo Doubs, there's Toure, they got Sammy Watkins. Say what you want to say about him being on the downside of his career, but he's a very quick, elusive receiver. Right. So he has more speed now at that position. And we know Aaron Rodgers can sling the deep ball. Mm-hmm. We can, so
we know that
these kids can get open in these intermediate routes.
And it's out quick.
Oh, it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
He's not going to sit back there and hold that ball long and take a lot of unnecessary hits. And now, and if his tight end back and Robert Tonyan is back also at full strength off that ACL tear,
who is really underrated there.
Yes.
He's good.
Yes. Rob, this dude he had double digits touchdowns not too long ago.
He's good.
So
he'll pick up a lot of that slack if he's healthy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Cobbs is a safety valve. Cobbs has been a safety valve before, will be again. So he's got an array. He's got a lot of question marks, especially on the outside. Mm-hmm. But he's got some of his safety valves in terms of his tight end and Randall Cobb being back there.
Yeah, and look, in terms of the upper echelon, the Eagles are going to face for sure, right? So it's Rodgers, without a doubt. Yeah, I would put him at number 1. And then there's the really good tier. Like there's the Dak Prescott, Cousins, Matt Ryan, for sure. Who I think he's actually going to have a nice year for them. I'm not telling you it's going to be great, but I think he's going to be good for them. Then there's the question mark guys. Wentz, I don't know.
I know.
Really don't know.
That is a big enigma down there for Washington. What Carson Wentz are they going to get? Here's a guy who could be on his last leg as a starting quarterback in the National Football League. Will he rise to the occasion? Because Washington has some decent-looking pass catchers down there. They've got a decent running game down there. They've got a great defensive front.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz has got to carry that load down there. Can he do it? Is he willing to be a team player compared to what he was his last year in Philadelphia and the 1 year he was in Indianapolis? If he comes close to that guy in 2017, Washington is going to be talked about all season long.
They're a surprise team, a legitimate surprise.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was interesting. We had Ruben Frank on yesterday from NBC Sports Philadelphia, and he pointed out if you basically go from like game 5 to like game 15 and look at Wentz's numbers, they're comparable with the best quarterbacks in the league.
No question.
But all we remember is the collapse, the last 2, in particular, the last game against Jacksonville.
Yep.
So I don't know. If I would say perhaps of any quarterback, maybe I would put him. I put Trey Lance because I don't know what that's going to look like. Clearly, San Francisco is banking on it, maybe not going well. Who else would fall into that? Just, I don't know, man. Flip a coin kind of category. Is there anybody else for you?
Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Would be another quarterback.
I'm a doubter with him, but I hear you. You're right.
Yeah, I'm a doubter with him also, but they've upgraded the personnel around him.
Yeah.
He's got a deep receiving core, so it's on him now. I would say, another quarter. How about Kyler Murray?
Yeah.
You got the big money. People figured you out the latter part of the season in terms of how to defend against you.
Right.
You've got to have a big year to justify that big money. Okay.
I got another one for you, too.
Yeah. Tua,
especially
absolutely.
Yeah,
not just Tyreek Hill, the Jalen Waddle. He's got the whole arsenal down
He's
there.
a good tight end.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, there's definitely ability. I would say those guys. I don't know. I feel like I kind of know what Baker Mayfield is. Maybe a change of scenery helps them, but where are they better? They're better. They're better than they were certainly with Darnold. But is it good enough? I guess is the $1 million question with him.
Huge question mark, dude. Huge question mark.
And he is so that whole team is so dependent on McCaffrey's health,
and on Baker Mayfield's shoulder. Is his shoulder fully rehabbed? Because if he takes one good shot on that, all of a sudden.
Oh, and there's nothing behind him. I mean, no offense to Phillip Walker. I meant my guy Temple, but come on.
No, and Darnold's out 4 to 6 weeks right out the gate.
That's if that heals. Those things you never know with those high ankles.
Yeah. So you're right. It goes from high hopes to basically nothing in quarterback if they have a problem.
And what's funny, Derek? If someone was having the same conversation in another city, they throw Hurts into this mix that we're talking about.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. No question about it.
Yeah.
I think another quarterback you have to wonder about is Jameis Winston.
Yes,
down in New Orleans.
Yep.
Which Jameis Winston are we going to see?
100%. I believe that. I am not sold. I think he's another one who's set up pretty nicely.
Yep.
Because same offensive coordinator. You point that out all the time.
Yep.
Same similar offensive line, good weapons and all that. But Sean Payton not being there, man, that makes a difference.
It's huge. I mean, will we see the Jameis who had a great 7 games coming out of the gate last year? Or will Jameis be that guy who left Tampa?
Yeah. Let me give you one on New Orleans here. Marcus May, their safety, very good player, arrested this morning for aggravated assault with a firearm. According to that's Nick Underhill is reporting who covers the New Orleans Saints for the WWL TV for what it's worth. So anyway, that's always an X factor too, man. What happens off the field, sometimes, and coaches dread the phone call. That.
Oh my goodness, yes, dude. These players nowadays, man, I don't understand why they don't learn. Don't be where you're not supposed to. Yeah. You don't need to be in all these nightclubs or wherever the case may be, man. All this domestic abuse stuff, man, you got to learn to walk away. You're a high-profile individual. Everything you do is more magnified, more so than the average guy on the street. You have to learn how to control yourselves and put yourselves in better surroundings. I know you want to cut loose and let your hair down and all that stuff a lot of times when you get out and about, but when you put yourselves in a situation, especially if you're in a place where you're in opposing team's backyard, let's say, and you want to go out and people identify you, they're going to want to talk trash to you.
I know.
And you're going to stand there and jaw jack with them? No, you get the heck up out of there.
That person has nothing to lose. You have everything to lose.
Exactly.
That's the problem. All right, we come back. Barrett will be rejoining us, and we will dig into the Russell Wilson contract and what the offshoots are for that. Aaron Donald chimed in on his helmet swinging. Some interesting things to say about that. We got a lot of good NFL stuff that we're going to dig into when we get back, including which second-year QB takes that jump. Who's the guy? And we'll put them in order. We'll rank them as well. Derek Gunn, Barrett in a little bit. I'm Rob. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Flynn Tree Services, because Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They are cost-effective, and they provide solutions to any tree problem that you may face. So if you have any type of tree issues in your yard or on your property, if you do, they're just a phone call away, a quick one, as a matter of fact. They are experts at trimming all types of trees, and they service southeastern PA, South Jersey, and northern Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, as well as tree pruning. Now, keep in mind, Storm and hurricane season is upon us. Now is a great time to have your trees evaluated before the wind, the rain, God knows what hits, and some of those trees come down or those branches come down. You don't want that issue. You go to Facebook or Instagram for more information and a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.